Hello, Alice. Hello there. Do you hear me? I can hear you. Can you hear me? Okay. You hear me now? Okay, good, good. Well, nice to see you. How's things in Australia? Good, good. And if my memory serves me, you're near Melbourne. Okay, okay, great. You probably had a chance to look at some of those questions I had. It was some interesting news items that I found there. I we had a little household incident, so I've been doing some cleanup around the house. A bit of rain through the roof, if you will, and so I've been kind of cleaning up a little bit of extra kitchen mess, but that's okay. So I don't have my notes in front of me. I'm hoping in the next minute or two I can find them. But why don't you first let me introduce you. Do you have a formal title with the atheist group, or you're just an activist? Oh, fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome Miss Alice Carr, President of Progressive Atheists in Melbourne, Australia. Welcome. Oh, it's our pleasure. There's our countries are so far apart in time and space that we rarely get any news at all unless there's a major news item. I'll put it that way. I won't go pejorative. But anyway, we're having an election cycle right now. I know you're not really on top of an election cycle, but there's one in the offing in the year or so, is it? Okay. Oh, that's okay. That's okay. I can always chop out anything we don't talk about, you know. I like to throw topics out there and get people's reaction and that sort of thing. But I thought it was only fair I gave you some idea of what the heck I was going to be talking about. But let me put it this way, Alice, why don't you tell us some of the things that are going on with the progressive atheists in Melbourne? How's that? Excellent. You're a powerful woman then, a woman on the move. Sure. Most progressives groups don't. That was my next question. If you could, when it's convenient, send me a link to it. I'd love to have that, and I can post that on our site. Go ahead, get it right. I'll take the minute. Well, hold on a second. Let's see if I can get there. If my typing skills will out. Oh, look, there it is. Progressive Atheist Inc. even. Is that... You're a corporation. Well, in America, that would mean that you're people, too. we have a curious twist in the law recently where our Supreme Court, our chief court in the land, has ruled that corporations are people. Oh, good, good. So you know that if you or any of the representatives of Progressive Atheists, Inc. came to this country, you'd have not only your own humanity, but your supra-corporate personage as well. Yeah, in case you might want to pass that along if you all need to chuckle a little. We have a very strong cultural cross-current, I'll put it that way, right now, where Christian conservatives have been, with a surprising lack of compassion, I think, insisting that they know better than most women and that they should really guide the little woman for appropriate behavior and certainly appropriate recreational activity. And I was wondering, is there what you might call a militant Christianity in Australia as well? May I apologize on our behalf? How Christian. Oh, yes. Rupert, by the way, is not my favorite Australian export. Mr. Crow also is. You can have him back, too. And Mel, yeah. And I won't blame you for them either. Is that fair? Okay. No wonder you're president. Good for you. And always a useful tool in one's human relations. So, what else are the good people from the Progressive Atheists of Australia doing? Good for you. Yeah, right. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Ooh. Good. Sure. Oh my. Sure. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. You couldn't. I mean, I think the average person would be hard pressed to imagine a scenario like that seems to have persisted across the globe. Really. Let me ask you this. You mentioned some other activities. What other kinds of activities is your atheist group involved in? Oh, bravo. Sure, sure. If I drew a picture of you, would that be a criminal act? You think? Sure. Well, it seems that there's been this conservative backlash that is xenophobic, that, has problems with Muslims wearing headscarves and problems with whether it be synagogues or mosques, even, Christian churches of the wrong persuasion. Uh, this kind of failure to understand. Now we have some pretty good, at least on paper, protections of freedom of religion. Is the same thing true in Australia? Do you have protections for not just freedom from religion, but freedom of religion as well? Yeah, that's okay. Hmm. Oh, super. One of my favorite crimes myself, and heresy. I've always been a big fan of heresy. It's one of my special favorites. I was wondering. One of the questions I had was, we've gotten, those of us again who pay attention to these issues. There was some reports of a tanker on the Great Barrier Reef. Do you guys get news on that? Is that something you've heard something about? Okay. Ah, that's okay. Don't worry about it. Not important. Right. We have those too. Ah, usually the case. Yeah. Yeah. Right. What could go wrong? Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Right. That they should protect it. Yeah. 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 That body of water south of you, that it says Port Phillip on my map. Is that fresh and salt water? Is it a brackish water? What we would call it brackish, where it's mixed with salt and fresh. I got you. Fresh, yeah. Gotcha. Okay. How is it health wise? Okay. Good for you. Yeah. Yeah. 300. Yeah. But they're working on that. Right. Well, it's a funny thing. Um, with our elections, the chief loon running in the Republican or Conservative Party has been making a lot of press splash about his anti-tolerant immigration ideas, and from heavily arming citizens to tall walls. Certainly, the immigrant population has been scapegoated really effectively for their audience. Um, I was wondering. I know you guys have a little bit of immigration issue as well. It's escapees from Southeast Asia, I think. Do you folks have troops in Africa too? Oh, speaking of coalition, that reminds me. Right now there's a quite a bit of to do about the P5+1's agreement with Iran. Are you folks part of that P5? Well, I can do a quick search and find out. Mm-hmm. Is there much in the press about it down your way? Sure, sure. Fine. God bless you. Oh, absolutely, no question about it. Just so that you know, uh, one of the primary impetuses for my show is I have such tremendous respect for the activist community. I've been an activist myself in varying degrees in various, I'm going to go ahead and say battlefronts for about 40 years. And I've seen people come and go. And my takeaway after all these years is I am so much an admirer of people who do this. People who, whether they're working for human rights or freedom of religion or freedom from religion or environmental issues or anti-war, I just think it's so marvelous that people take the time away from their lives, away from their families, away from the hunt for economic survival, because it's always the best people that are activists, the ones that really care about their community and are deeply caring individuals. And listen, don't ever have to apologize to me. I have great respect for you and the work that you do, not just as a human being with your own children, but what you're doing for your community. I think that's fantastic, and that's why I do this, so that your voice can be heard. Well, that's marvelous. If there's anything else that you think the progressive community up this way should know about the work that you progressives are doing down the other corner of the world, what should we know? What should we know about you? Praise God. Now, of course, they were only one religion, right? technically. Well, thank you so much for your time. I certainly appreciate it. And give your friends and fellow progressives down there a big hello from the progressives in Florida. Well, it's been an honor to speak to you, my dear, and kiss the kitties. Good night for us, huh? Bye bye.